Today on the Topping Show, Joy Reid says that having no taxes is a bad thing. Dearborn, Michigan citizens voice their concerns over what they are calling a Muslim takeover. Democrat Representative Rose DeLauro is upset that illegals might lose their tax-paid benefits for their healthcare. I reviewed the cars with the best brand loyalty, and Kia recalls their SUVs because, whoops, they might burst into flames. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting Flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, I review the cars with the greatest brand loyalty, and spoiler alert, there's not a single GM product on there, which, if I'm honest, I'm not too surprised. Having family work at the headquarters as well as the assembly line at GM throughout the years, let's just say if it wasn't for the friends and family discount, not even the employees would buy those vehicles. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Motor1.com, specifically Anthony Allianz, who's a writer over there. And a little spoiler alert in terms of what's the top brand, right on the top of the article, one of those beautiful cars out there. Now you know for sure it's not a GM product. And they say, quote, these car brands have the most loyal buyers. Overall, buyer loyalty did dip below 50% though in 2020 or this year. And here you can see right on the top of the screen, Porsche GT4 RS, and a nice orange paint job, which to Porsche's credit, they have some of the most fun colors out there. And that's one of the best cars of all time. So, actually, that's a Cayman, I believe. Been a long week, folks. But nevertheless, since it's where that should have a stick shift, the RSs do not. But nevertheless, another topic for another time, perhaps. Again, credit to Anthony over there. And they say, quote, repeat customers are great for business. It builds relationships. Yeah, people wondering, why don't they buy another GM product? Once you buy one, as you buy another one, I can't help but think, it's not zero, but gotta be close. Again, they say, quote, it builds a relationship between the buyer and the seller, and there are some brands which buyers can't get enough of. This year, J.D. Power's U.S. Automobile Brand Loyalty Study reveals that car companies that have a high rate of buyers with the highest return rate. The study examined 5 segments, 2 premium and 3 mainstream categories. Yep, spoiler, Porsche ranked above the rest in terms of premium car loyalty. Nearly 60% of Porsche buyers returned to buy the brand. Mercedes-Benz came in at second, with almost half of all buyers purchasing a vehicle from the brand, which I actually do wonder, how do they measure this in terms of, if you have a Porsche, and shout out to Chris, one of my buddies who watches the show, greatly appreciate it. He's actually the one who gave me some feedback to move some stuff in front of the screen, so my eye is more aligned with the camera. I won't say his last name for privacy concerns, but I say, Chris, buddy, appreciate you helping out the show with the feedback, and I'm going to reference you right now. One of the biggest Porsche aficionados, he doesn't just have the Porsche 911, which is awesome. He bought a Porsche SUV to tow it to the track, which is the most awesome and Porsche thing you can do. Though, I do give him a little bit of shit because the Porsche SUV, you got the one with automatic transmission, which, let's be honest, come on now. Again, he drives that thing, the wheels come off, getting a lot of bang for his buck. But yeah, I wonder how they measure that in terms of, they have a Porsche, then they buy another one. They're not replacing it. Is that, where does that fall to the metrics? I'm only partially kidding, but again, appreciate you watching the show, Chris. And I say, quote, for the premium SUV segment, buyers can't get enough of Lexus. Really? They say the brand held a 57.4% brand loyalty compared to BMW, which came in second at 54% of buyers returning to the German brand. Now, they say mass market car buyers are devoutly loyal to Toyota, with 62% of buyers returning to purchase another vehicle. However, that is down 0.5%. They note that Honda comes in at second at 55.5%. I do wonder how long this study is, because, I mean, you buy Toyota or Honda, it'll last you a couple decades before you get another one. And again, that's one of the reasons I love those brands. And they have stick shifts, so I like that too. I mean, my parents bought a new Honda Accord, 4-cylinder, not the biggest, but still, it works. Automatic, disappointing transmission. But nevertheless, they bought a brand new Honda Accord in 2001. All these years later, it still runs like a champ. That's in the Midwest with all the salt, too. It is still running like a champ. something about Japanese cars, they just last, well, unless they're Mitsubishi, but in all seriousness, yeah, they have some of the best brand loyalty. And the reason I bought a Honda was because I know it's going to be darn near bulletproof. Now, they say again, Honda did come in second at 55.5%, but it's the first in but it was first in swooping up return of buyers from mass market SUV segment at 62%. Subaru was a very close one at 60 point. Wow, that was 62% for Honda, and Subaru came in at 60.6%, which I was going to say, we'll get a nice little chart going there. And yeah, interesting. Not a single Chevrolet product on there. Yeah. Now, not too surprising, Ford did make it. They say Ford remains the clear leader in the truck category with the highest loyalty rate in the industry at 66.6%, which that's the highest of everything. That's insane. So it makes sense. Like, Ford is known for one thing. Well, I guess maybe they're evil. It's 66.6%. Like, partially kidding. But yeah, the Ford F-150, as I don't know, every time I hear it, I pronounce it that way. Yeah, that is America's truck. Ugh, with the automatic transmission. But nevertheless, there's a reason those things are used at most work sites, and most enthusiasts love them when they're running. So I'm not too surprised that Ford came in at 66.6% for the F-150. That is the car or truck of the company. Now, they did note that that was actually up from 65.1% in 2024. They say, shockingly, it's not Chevrolet, Ram, or GMC that came in second place, but Toyota at 61.2%, which also increased this year, which I am a little surprised because Ram has exceptionally durable trucks, and people buy them. I mean, one of my friend's dad's, his truck, I think it's a 2008 Ram, got 253,000 miles, still runs like a champ. Although, again, recently they did, last year they had the straight six engine for the 1500 Ram, which most people didn't appreciate. Sorry, they're fixing it. Now they will come with a V8 standard for the 1500 series Ram pickup truck. But yeah, with Chevrolet and GMC, again, that's the same. It's the same actual truck with different badges are slapped down at the factory, the assembly line. I have a couple friends who bought those vehicles. Anecdotally, yeah, they have a lot more issues than the competition. And Toyota came in at 61.2% for the mainstream truck. That's a second place, which I'm not too surprised. Again, Toyota is tough as nails, although they did have that one issue with the V6 with the the Tacoma pickup truck, which is their light duty one. But yeah, not too surprised. Got Honda. I mean, Lexus is luxury brand of Toyota, so Toyota won in both segments. So they got both their brands on there. Honda, of course, got two on there. So in terms of first and second place, Honda and Toyota are neck and neck. Acura. It's the luxury division of Honda. I'm not too surprised. I can't but think that's again in terms of volume is very small, but yeah, people buy Acura. I can't but think they buy it one time before they unfortunately come to Father Time. But yeah, I'm not too surprised. Porsche is one of the highest sports cars out there. I mean, I did a segment, I believe, a couple weeks ago around how the 911 is one of the best cars for retaining its value. But again, vehicles should never be treated as an investment mechanism. But yeah, they retain their value. People love those vehicles. They're going to buy them again and again and again. Well, in this case, 58.2% of the time. So nothing too surprising or standing out or that, stood out to me too much. I mean, I just thought it was funny again. GM had, again, no one in there. Which, again, coming from a family who worked at GM and have seen a lot of GM products, if I won the lottery, sure, I'd get a Cadillac CT4 or CT5V Blackwing with a stick shift, of course. But yeah, I don't know if I'd buy more than one of those vehicles. But let me know which one of these stood out the most. What's the vehicle that you thought or brand that should have been on there that wasn't? Let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Cultural Report podcast, you have Joy Reid saying that it's bad to get rid of taxes. Yeah, I really do hope she runs for office and gets into politics. There's rumors that she will. We'll see if she ever does. This is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness, and he says, quote, Joy Reid is on a fascist agenda. And she says that, getting rid of taxes and shrinking the government is a fascist, which I guess we should not be too surprised she does not know how to Google something or look at a dictionary to learn anything about fascism. But here's a Joyless Reid.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business.
It sounds like heaven.
You could earn as much money as you want. Leave
yes.
100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back.
That's the world that anyone with a modicum of sanity would want. That would be awesome. Imagine you get to keep the money instead of the government stealing it. I mean, how much money does I'll finish the segment in a second, but how much money does the government steal from us? You have the federal income tax. Sometimes you have a state income tax. You got the gasoline tax, telecommunications tax, water tax, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, alcohol tax, tobacco tax. That's just a couple off the top of my head. I mean, there's even taxes to recycle tires. We were taxed to death. And sales tax, another big theft. So you're taxed on the money that you already taxed on. It would be shockingly depressing if you were to look at a Venn diagram or some chart that said, hey, here's how much money you earn. Here's how much is left after the government steals on a federal and state basis. I always contend that if Americans are exceptionally good at math, or even, if we just did a little bit of basic math, it'd be a revolution tomorrow. I also contend if you had to pay your income tax in cash, there'd be a revolution. People are kind of desensitized, kind of like when you buy stuff online with the credit card. It seems less real when they just steal it off the top. Like if you had, at the end of the year, if you had to go to the IRS and pay them cash, the Libertarian candidate would win in spades. But okay, maybe I'm judging too quickly about Joyless Reid. Perhaps she will give us a very articulate, smart reason as to what her... No, of course she won't, but we'll let her finish speaking.
Get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go...
Want fewer things? No, we're not. Actually, no, they're not the party that says you will own nothing and be happy. Right, the antithesis, that's what your folks want to do. And Joyless Reid, which, again, I can't make fun of her name too much. My name is Topping. But nevertheless, my pre-eval, I got 5.3 million views and 37,000 likes. I thought I could be the one more to get to 38,000 likes. And yeah, I really do. We'll see if Trump actually does this. He said he's going to get rid of the federal income tax. That would be life-changing. I mean, geez Louise, the amount of... I'm almost flabbergasted just with the joy of the idea of that actually coming to fruition, because we've been robbed for so many decades. People forget the income tax didn't exist for the longest time. And then it said it was going to be temporary, like all taxes. They lied to us. Democrats and Republicans. They said, it's going to be temporary. Then they say, it's going to be permanent, but only for a couple of years. And then, it never goes away. And there was a time where, you got to keep the money you earned. There's a time when the government was so small, in order to fund like a construction of a new school building, they just have a local lottery and the government would take half. Now the government takes half of every single lottery and they still can't balance the damn budget under the ineptitudes of Democrats and Republicans. Again, Trump is increasing the deficit. They need to, in my opinion, cut a lot of things. However, there are people who get a lot of free stuff for doing nothing, and if you were to take those benefits away, they wouldn't vote for you. So Republicans they're scared to death. They will never touch entitlement programs, specifically around senior citizens. So again, Social Security's bankrupted our nation. It doesn't work, obviously. But yeah, there's a lot of entitlement programs that even Republicans will not touch with a 10-foot pole. Unfortunately, we need to, but the can will just get kicked down the road, I believe, inevitably. But yeah, I was so flabbergasted, so enamored with joy. Just imagine for a second, the government did steal most of what you make. Because it is. From the federal income tax, the state income tax, and sales tax. After all that, how much is really left? And then all other taxes you got to pay. It's ridiculous. And gasoline is taxed on a state level and a federal level. And you have car registration on top of that. It is ridiculous, to say the least. Now, go in the comment section. One of the first ones comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, saying, quote, Democrats, I beg you, run on fighting this scary agenda. Gain 21,000 likes. Man Van Soul says, how is this a bad thing? This is exactly what I want. Gain 3,000 likes. Yep. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, is Joy Reid really this stupid? Gaining 2.9 thousand likes. Yeah. Probably. America AF says, I guess I'm fascist then. You have Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street giving the hand gesture of woo, getting 572 likes. David Sullivan, pronouns are prosecute Fauci, says, quote, she speaks of every American's dream. I want that. And he has a banner that says, I'd rather be American than a Democrat, getting 355 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, Joy Reid is basically saying she wants communism, getting 589 likes. Conservative DeWall, although I'm probably dyslexic because I thought it said DeWalt, like the tool company. Nevertheless, it's the Peter Parker Spider-Man meme. And Peter Parker goes, I support President Trump and his tax policies. And Harry goes, they want to take us back to no income tax, no regulations, earn what you want, and family inherits everything. And Toby Maguire goes, I already said I'm for Trump's tax policies. You don't have to sell them to me. 2.1 thousand likes. A comedian says, quote, for just $2 a month, you can feed this African child. And it's a picture of Joy Reid getting 2.7 thousand likes, which I do actually debate. I actually don't think she makes a living on her daily show or on her podcast. There's not enough people watching. I would suspect if she was smart, she would have taken all her money throughout the decades and invested it in like the S&P 500 or some other investment mechanism that she's mainly living off the dividends by now in her life. Who knows? That picture did get 2.7 thousand likes. Let's see. Julian has a picture of The Simpsons with the meme of the bus driver tapping at the rear view mirror. It says, don't make me tap the sign. And on the sign it says, it's a tweet from Devin Erickson saying, quote, if you keep telling people that everything they want is fascism, they'll eventually conclude that fascism is everything they want. Getting 362 likes. I mean, that's another issue, culturally speaking, and I guess, politically speaking, in terms of the change of language in the United States. I mean, words like fascism, racism, and a lot of the isms have lost all meaning because Democrats have used it so much as an insult. Falsely, it is a textbook example. Little Red, not real. I was about to speak of another tale. What is that one? It's The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Been a long day, folks. But yeah, some of those. They said it so often, it's lost all meaning. Let's see. Going down more and more. Kingman Lee says, "Wow, that sounds great." Getting 4.1 thousand likes. Elizabeth Haligian says, "Quote: No income tax, yes. No regulations, yes. Earn what you want, yes. Family inherits everything, yes. Sounds good to me." Getting 2.5 thousand likes. Aunt America, as a picture of Skeletor with the meme, says, "Jokes on you. I'm into that shit." Getting 24 likes. Zachary Tisdale, Canadian flag? Or son of a bitch. As a conservative in California, I was about to say California. What's the difference with between Canada? Imagine being born in a country with no right of freedom of speech, no right to defend yourself, the Second Amendment, with American freedom right there. It's so close. That's got to be heartbreaking. And he has a meme from The Simpsons. This superintendent says, "You call this fascism when obviously it's freedom." Getting 313 likes. Which, yeah, we'll see what the future is for Joy Reid. I don't know if she maybe gets a job at another company someday after she's been fired. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Dearborn, Michigan residents voicing their concerns over what they are calling a Muslim takeover. Now, this brought to us thanks to Wall Street Apes. And he says, quote, "Michigan resident exposes the truth about the Muslim takeover." And he just quotes her, and, well, she speaks infinitely more articulately than I. So without too much further ado, go ahead and maximize that on screen there.
So being that Dearborn has been in the news recently, I wanted to get on here and just tell everyone that I was raised 10 minutes from Dearborn. I spent a lot of time in Dearborn, and I know what goes on in Dearborn. So coming from somebody who was raised right outside of Dearborn, spent a lot of time in that city, I will tell you that what you are hearing is absolutely true. Now, there's two parts of Dearborn, the east side and the west side. The west side is about 50% Christian, 50% Muslim. The east side is about 90% Muslim, if not more. The east side is where you hear that mayor saying that he's putting that street up named after a tea organization or somebody that was a tea. Yes, that is the east side by Warren Avenue. So as a woman that grew up 10 minutes from Dearborn and spent the majority of my time in that area growing up, I will tell you that a woman cannot walk down the street in East Dearborn and not get harassed in some way or even spit on. I've seen friends of mine get spit on for not covering their hair and their face. You will not pass a building that is not written in Arabic. You cannot read anything. It's like being in a third world country. Now, I know that there'll be pushback on this video and people will say, that's not true. American women can walk down the street in Dearborn. Well, I'm telling you right now that it is absolutely true. And I have several times walked down the street in Dearborn and been harassed. My friends have been spit on, and it happens every day down there. And another thing, I remember growing up, after 9/11, driving down the street, actually on Warren Avenue in Dearborn, and everyone, all of these Muslims, lined up on the street, cheering and screaming, beeping their horns. They were celebrating it, and that is exactly what they were doing. So yes,
The CIA agents? Kidding, kind of.
what you're hearing about Dearborn is absolutely true.
And there are more and more states saying they're going to commit to make sure you're blocking it in terms of trying to enact Sharia law. But yeah, things like that are trending, so to say. And this went pretty viral, got about 600,000 views and 26,000 likes. Which, yeah, that's it's definitely different than the Polish immigration that happened about 100 years ago. Michigan's definitely changed throughout the years. It's crazy to think at one time in history, Detroit, Michigan was the third richest city on the planet. Then I would argue through mismanagement and as well as increase the cost of goods sold, the consumer in terms of, skyrocketing rates of labor, the audio industry left, there were riots, and the shitties never recovered. Though I'm sure like the city of Chicago will be good any day now. Dark humor political pun. Yeah, it's been about 100 years of the same management in Chicago, or as they call it, Chirac. I don't suspect they will get any more livable anytime soon, or attract any businesses to move there anytime soon. They seem to flee, just like in the case of Michigan and California and other places like that. And yeah, that's definitely a big culture shock for a lot of folks. I don't think a lot of people realize how much Michigan has changed throughout the years. And I used to grow up, back when I grew up in the Midwest, we would go to Michigan all the time, go to the ball game. Well, back then it was the Michigan Wolverines. Well, they're still around. They don't win very often, I don't believe. And they wanted like $55,000 per year for college. So I'm like, I'm not going to that school. Yeah, but nevertheless, it's an instance where, yeah. And another interesting fact, the Dearborn, Michigan police were about 3% Arab. Now, the police chief said it was 45% or 48%. Now, again, it's not like they're a monolith. Not all of them are going to think the same way or act the same way. I do wonder, if you're on the police force, you believe in Sharia law, you believe in, maybe you just came here, your allegiance is more to your religion than the actual law you're sworn an oath to. Would the police officers stop the guys from spitting on her? Would they protect her? Or would they turn the other way? Again, I'm not insinuating that'll happen 100% of the time. But that's a variable to think about. And we're seeing a lot more. And again, you've seen a big shift in terms of lack of assimilation throughout the past, I would argue, 20 or 30 years, especially. I come from a family of immigrants. My parents came here, or my mom's side of the family came here from one of the worst places on the planet, Cuba, right when Fidel Castro took over. Though the joke is, she went to the one place on the planet worse than communist Cuba, Southside Detroit. But there's an instance where, they very much assimilated. You'll never see a Cuban wave the Cuban flag. That's disgusting. They failed dictatorial hellhole. They waved their American flag. They learned English. And they all became, contributing members of society. They assimilated. Again, I'm not saying these other people won't. We're definitely seeing a culture shift in this regard. And a lot of Republicans are making a lot of money saying, vote for me. I'm going to fix everything. I'll get these people to leave. I'll deport them. How? A lot of these folks came here legally under the Biden-Harris administration, as well as Obama administration, over the course of decades. Now, granted, it's been ramped up exponentially past, 5 years. But again, we also have freedom of religion in the United States. I don't think the founding fathers could have comprehended having such a religion that is going against many of the morals values they espoused and they believed in when they founded the country. But again, in the United States, we have freedom of religion, freedom of association. It's an instance where, it's now legally she shouldn't be abused like that. The piece of shit who did that to those women should be arrested or fined and arrested, etc., have their day in court. But yeah, there's a lot of people raising money, I think, unethically, saying like, "So vote for me. I'll solve the problem." Yeah, again, they don't give any the cliche politicians. They don't give a single truth. They don't give a single answer to how they would do that. But it is quite scary to see that cultural shift And again, Trump controversially did make English the official language of the United States. Personally, I think that should have been done over 100 years ago. But yeah, it's kind of unusual to go to a main town and most of it, the signage is no longer in English. Now, I mean, it used to be, when I grew up, one of the most cool, unique experiences, you go to Chinatown, we're in a very small section, you see, all the signs, you'd buy fireworks and the yin yang balls that make noises, the meditation balls. And it's pretty cool. But like in terms of the main area, there's more of a melting pot. And people would come and they would, you'd have a unified language. That's very important. And I think we're seeing that less and less. But maybe I'm alone in my analysis. Maybe everyone is in the comment section is saying, oh yeah, no big deal. Hey, you'll wear a burka, you'll be happy. I'm sure Nike will make a nice one. Now, for the comment section, the first one comes to us thanks to Based Electrician. And he says, quote, I think it's time for the United States to invade Dearborn, Michigan, getting 345 likes. MAGA 1775. Let me actually like that. MAGA 75 says, quote, been hearing this for years and the media keeps gaslighting us. This isn't Islamophobia, it's people living in parts of Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn parts of Dearborn, Michigan aren't American anymore. That's a problem, getting 77 likes. Let's see. Got a contrarian statement brewed to the surface. Darnell Jackson says, quote, white people let them into the country. Now white people complaining, getting 20 likes. Well, that is kind of I don't know if it's dark humor or ironic. We look at who's usually abused the most by people who are coming here new. They're usually liberal white women they want that. And again, I don't think anyone should be abused. That's why I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment. I think everyone, especially women, are mentally, able-bodied in terms of you have your mental capacities. You should have a firearm at all times to defend yourself the most effective way so you're not abused. And then Darnell Jackson, going to the comments to see if his ratio, he did get 21 likes. Not for me. He has someone by the name of Eric Castro saying, quote, white Democrat globalist let them into the country to try to destabilize us from within. This has nothing to do with the average citizens, getting 24 likes. As youth might say, he was ratioed. Let's see. Steve Miller says, bad American people let them in to destroy us all. Color has no role. Character does, getting 3 likes, which, yeah, I would say it's all about culture. Going to the main comment section. One from Go Pound Sand 4555 says, quote, historically, the 2 largest destroyers of life have been communism and Islam. The Democrats have embraced 2 of the deadliest ideologies in history, getting 470 likes. Mrs. B has the compilation of Afghanistan 1970 to 2012, Iran 1970 to 2012, Europe 2015 to 2050, and they all got those burkas going, getting 233 likes. Yeah, Mrs. B, I forget, this is that washed up loser. Who's that washed up loser of an actor? He's a leftist. Robert De Niro, is that him? He says, quote, do you really believe that Islam is a danger to every civilization? And Joker goes, I do, and I'm tired of pretending it's not, getting 126 likes. Mrs. B has all the memes, so we're going to get some other folks here. Let's see. Jeremy says, remove all of them from within the United States. And they has a picture of the Islamic logo. And they say, green check marks over beheading, burning people alive, female, cover your ears if you're actually listening to this part of the show. Definitely not appropriate for them to hear. It's a hostage taking, yes. Female genital mutilation, yes. Honor killings, yes. Slavery, yes. Oppression of women, yep. Jihad, yes. And hurting kids the worst possible way, yep. Getting 232 likes, which, yeah. Let's see here. SNK says, these are the same people who scream and cry about the Jews all day on the internet. Macho Mods and Mohammeds. It says, religious concept that allows Muslims to lie, or Takaya. I'm definitely not purposely trying to butcher the pronunciation, but it's kind of the default to my ineptitudes that tends to happen from time to time. And it says, quote, a religious concept that allows Muslims to lie, deceive, or hide their beliefs. If it helps spread Islam or protect its agenda, don't be fooled by the mask. Sometimes tolerance is just a strategy, getting 250 likes. See, I just screenshot stupidity says Miss Michigan 2025. It's a girl in a full dress. And 61 likes. Going down more and more. A lot of people just the random memes or memes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And again, hopefully people stop getting hurt and are abused like the way she was noting in Michigan. But I'm pretty pessimistic, but let me know your thoughts on what will happen. I'd be fascinated to hear, as always, what do you have to say? Other interesting political news, you have Representative Rose DeLauro very irate that illegals might lose the health care that we pay for. That's brought to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, The purple-haired crazy cat lady is screaming in Congress again, which, I mean, it's not like I have much ground to stand on when it comes to making fun of people's visual appeal or lack thereof, because look at me. But yeah, she literally does look like your cliche leftist. She's short purple hair, glasses thicker than a soy boy's leg, and it looks like her dress is made from a compilation of leftover fabric from the Hobby Lobby. Not that there's anything wrong with Hobby Lobby, exceptional materials over there to make dresses, but yeah, she looks as insane as you would think. And now she claims, hardworking veterans are going to lose their benefits. No, not at all.
To this bill, it really is a fallacy. That is the fallacy, because 67 pages of the 91 in this continuing resolution deal with health care extensions one way or another, whether they're for veterans, whether they're for others. That is what's in there. So it's absolutely germane that what we talk about
Fancy. I give her credit. That's a fancy word. It's a good trap word.
How
Unless she's talking about the person germane. I'm kidding. She's using it, right?
they have slashed Medicaid of the largest cut in history, and 15 million
Because a lot of people are on it that shouldn't be.
people are going to lose their health care.
And people who don't work, who are willing and able to.
And how they raise the premiums for co-pays and deductibles.
Because it's bleeding money, and our country's bleeding money.
And I am happy to share with all of my colleagues, Democrats and Republicans, how much increase that is going to cost to their constituents in their district. And it's also going to tell them how many people in their state are going to lose that health care coverage that they have. It is in black and white, and it's there, and the people of their districts and their communities are going to know all about it. They set in motion $536 billion.
I'm actually surprised she actually had time to leave the office and stop making uniforms for the Incredibles. Disney pun. Yeah, she looks obviously insane. Gained 600,000 views and 10,000 likes, which, yes, some people are going to lose the healthcare that you and I pay for. I'm just going to say this is a rare thing for me to give anyone in politics an accolade. But yeah, part of the big beautiful bill is good. Part of what Trump did is good. And Republicans actually did something good, which, geez Louise, I haven't said that in a long time. But in all seriousness, they introduced requirements to get Medicare and Medicaid. Again, some people are on Medicaid who are able-bodied. And the government's saying, hey, if you are able-bodied, you have to work a minimum of like 20 hours a week. Which, again, if you're able-bodied, you should be able to do that. There are jobs for every skill set out there. You could debate there are fewer because of the increase in minimum wage. Another topic for another time, perhaps. But yeah, there are a lot of people on healthcare who shouldn't be because they're also illegal as well. And it's costing us billions of dollars. I mean, the Blaze had an article, what was this, a couple days ago? You can actually pull this up really quick. What are they? It's just credited to Candace Hathaway. So yeah, spent $23.1 billion on medical spending for illegals in 2023. It's insane. Spent like $66.4 billion since 2017. We're $37 trillion in debt. You could also argue it's immoral for our tax dollars to pay the healthcare of people who break into the country. Because again, $37 trillion in debt. Everyone I know is being taxed to death, and yet someone is getting free healthcare when they shouldn't be here. Again, there are people where there's a safety net for people who, again, they're American citizens. Something popped up. They're getting a little. Again, I understand there's safety nets. I would argue tax us less and let private, religious affiliated hospitals take care of them, and let us use our tax dollars to donate directly. We'd have a lot more money to do that if the government did steal from us. Personally, I think that'd be a much more effective way to do that, just like most, as we've seen government be pretty much inept and moronic in everything they do. Again, no topic for no time, perhaps. But again, it's a creepy looking lady is going to get some, Miss Rosa is going to get some more tax dollars. She'll probably get some more donations from Democrats who believe her. Now, go to the comment section. One of the first ones comes to us thanks to Wall Street Apes. It says, The Dark Crystal gained 322 likes. DK says, quote, this one is tough, but I have faith in you. And it says, it might be difficult to pick out which one is Democrat. There's Rose DeLauro, the crazy Democrat to the left, who, again, in this picture here, she has especially comical glasses on, as leftists usually do. In this case, they're glasses with, thick rimmed glasses, and they're green, which green looks great on a car or even a watch. I'm biased, I have one. But it's almost as if leftists seek out the dumbest looking glasses frames of all time. And there are 10,000 plus different glass frame designs out there. Granted, there may be like 4 or 3 companies, but still, there are options, and they choose like the most insane one. It's ridiculous. Now, that did get 373 likes, and she's juxtapositioned with a Republican politician who, she looks normal. Walter Kurt says, I never understood how this woman is elected. She looks like a woman with dementia who escaped from a nursing home, getting 178 likes, which, again, there are a lot of people in politics who, again, if they just have a D next to their name or R next to their name, people are going to vote for them just because they vote along the party lines. And there are even instances where, some people run unopposed for office, too. They're going to de facto win. So, and it's one of those things where, a lot of people get elected. They're not, just sometimes you just have to show up to win in some cases or some races. Or again, some areas are just really bright red or really bright blue, and they're just going to win. Goliath says, they wear many colors, brother. It's a drag queen. It says, hey, wait, want to hear a story? And it's right after Kid, and Kid goes, not today, Satan, getting 248 likes. Molly simply says, the Democrats are intentionally misleading people about why Medicaid is being cut for certain people. These individuals who are losing the coverage either never qualified for it, lied on their documents, or are able-bodied people taking advantage of the system. What the Democrats fail to mention is that when you remove the ineligible individuals, it actually benefits those who generally need Medicaid. Getting 49 likes. Yep. Wayne Dunlop says the Democrat Party has turned hate into a virtue. Getting 42 likes. SW says Grimace needs to STFU. Getting 47 likes, which, I can see a resemblance. Kevin1763 says Congress is finally starting to look like an asylum. Getting 31 likes. Yeah. Porky Swift says, quote, who's going to have a heart attack first, purple hair or Warren? Getting 21 likes, which, again, I don't wish any of them to have heart attacks. I wish some of them were retired because they're clearly insane. Well, not technically, they're not Biden, but I find their ideals antithesis of most of what I stand for. But again, hopefully they don't actually croak. CI says, oh no, I thought she was a man, getting 15 likes. Stock Monkey says, RFK Jr. needs to investigate if hair dye rots your brain, getting 15 likes. Might be a causation there. What's this? Claude Lucas says, if you put glasses and a wig on a blobfish, it looks like an angry left-wing activist. Getting 197 likes in a fact check true. Ultra Lady Inspector says, term limits, please, getting 9 likes. Yeah, that'd be nice. Let's see. Not seeing any contrarian statements, and I'm actually scrolling all the way down. We also have Nevada Liberty 1864, having a picture of a purple toad and I was about to say leftist woman. You know she is because she has short pink hair, nerd glasses, and thick gauge earrings. And the caption is, in nature, poisonous creatures will often develop bright colors to warn of their toxicity. 144 likes. Let's see. Much more memes. 4547 says, Mark Cuban looking pretty rough these days. It says the evolution of Mark Cuban, and you have him getting a little older, getting the Rachel Maddow glasses. And as Rachel Maddow, then you have a Rose DeLauro. Getting 112 likes. A lot more people are bringing up the fact that we need term limits, which, they'd also limit Republicans as well. I'm for it, but, Republicans have the House, the White House, and the Senate. They could be doing a lot. I wish they would do more around the Second Amendment and a couple other things, but, I don't know. Trump said things about term limits. We'll see if anything actually gets done with those. But let me know your thoughts, as always, because I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to business, Blunder the day of Kia issuing a recall for some of their SUVs because, whoops, they might burst into flames. Now, this brought to us thanks to SILive.com. Specifically, Mike Mateo, who's right over there. Here you can see the Kia logo. It's the old style one. Copying Samsung with the upside down V, B and A. See what you did there. Now, he says, quote, He has issued a safety recall for older SUV models due to electrical issues that could cause a fire. Around 39,350 vehicles are affected by the recall, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Documents filed with the agency stated that the main cause of the recall is electronic faults in the vehicle's HVAC systems. The electrical connection to the blower motor can overheat when using the air conditioning or heating, which can increase the risk of a fire. The recall affects 2021, 2022 model years of Kia's popular Sorento SUV. The automaker has warned any Sorento owner to be on the lookout for a burning or melting smell coming from the vents or blower not working, which If you are a Kia owner, just consult with your friends who drive a Ford car or a GM vehicle. They'll know what the smell is. They can relay it to you quite easily. I'm only partially kidding. Now, they say that owners will be contacted by Kia directly to bring the vehicle to a dealer, where the dealerships will replace the wire harnesses and blower motor resistor free of charge. They note that you can contact, customer service at 800-332-4542 or National Highway. Oh, I was going to say, or the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Who on earth would ever want to willingly call a government agency is beyond me. I won't waste my breath with that number. Lord knows you'd be on hold for 58 minutes minimum. They did note that the company warned drivers should also be on the lookout for visuals, including loose bits of trim outside the vehicle, and should make note of any rattling or wind noise while driving as well. And that was actually a reference to another recall earlier in the summer. And they note in terms of the recall for the vehicles that might melt and burst into flames, those will be reached to you by mail by November 24th, or just tune to the show where we usually cover the recall weeks or months before they're mailed out. And gotta say, Kia, I'm not sure how considering just a modern amenities, well, been around for 100 years, I think. One of the key things people use in their cars is, heating and cooling. I don't know how that got past the quality assurance department, not to double check that those things are working tip-top shake. So I gotta say, Kia, this recall, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.